Good morning, Gallatin. My name is Megan Lang, and I am an employee of the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce. And as you can see, our guest today is not here. Unfortunately, Mark Harrington, who is the president of the Sumner County Fire Buffs Association, also known as Rehab 83, he got a call at 9:58 this morning, and so is currently either on his way or at the scene of a fire. So he was kind enough to share with me some information about the Fire Buffs last night. This is an organization that I did not know, honestly, anything about. When I heard about the Fire Buffs, the name is very misleading. So I'm going to share just a little bit about this with you, and I'm hoping that at some point we can have Mark come on and actually speak with us. So anyway, the Sumner County Fire Buffs is a volunteer nonprofit organization within Sumner County, and they operate 24/7. So they're always on call. I believe from what Mark has said and from what I'm reading that they're primarily made up of spouses of the firefighters, and retired emergency personnel. So it's a lot of people who actually know what they're doing. So apparently Sumner County is cut into halves. You have the southern part of Hendersonville, and you have Westmoreland, and Rehab 83 or the Fire Buffs. They have both. They have a vehicle in each side, and when they are dispatched to an incident, volunteers respond directly to the scene, depending on where they are located. So he says they're only dispatched to an incident at the request of the incident commander or the person controlling the scene, which includes fire and police related scenes. And one of the things that I was unaware of, I honestly had no idea what the Fire Buffs were. So apparently, and again, this is me not knowing too much about it, the Fire Buffs provide food and drink to our emergency personnel when they're working the scene. And so they'll set up a table with Gatorade, with, quick snacks that will replace calories quickly, or with any sort of beverage that's going to kind of rehydrate them. And it even says here that, if a scene goes on for more than 24, or not even more than 24 hours, I guess for a long enough time, they'll make sure that the firefighters or the emergency personnel are fed. And they have agreements with several local restaurants to give them food at a low cost, which I think is amazing. That's, it's really nice when we see the community coming together to support our emergency personnel, especially the firemen. I cannot imagine doing that, but they have coolers with water, Gatorade, snacks, things that can be eaten to replace lost calories or electrolytes, to reduce the number of job-related injuries. They have chairs, canopies, heaters, fans, hand towels, hot drinks. And of course, like I said, they provide a light, healthy meal in case something is needed. They've also apparently been requested to respond into Robertson County a few times over the last few months, because Robertson County does not have a rehab unit as of yet. So I think that's really, kind of amazing. So if you are interested in volunteering with the Sumner County Fire Buffs, you have to attend a membership meeting. And I'm not sure what these membership meetings look like right now, obviously with COVID-19, but they meet once a month at First Baptist Church in Gallatin. And I think Mark might be here. Hold on. Let me see if I can add him here. Hello, Mark.
Hey. Sorry, I had to run
What?
out.
Oh, you're fine. I was just telling people about the fire buff. So
Oh, okay. Can I fill in, or I'll
yes,
just catch on to
well,
where you're at?
I've just been kind of going through the email that you sent me, and so you are a much better person to talk about this. So tell me, kind of, hey, is everything okay? You responded
Yeah,
to it.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Everything's fine. We had a gas alarm going off in somebody's home down the street, so
Oh, excellent.
they just wanted us to come out, run a gas meter through their house.
Yeah. So, in terms of what does the fire buff or what do fire buffs do in Sumner County? What is your goal?
Our goal is to ensure that every responder that responds to calls, whether it's police, fire, EMS, even our EMA workers, have the necessities of drinks and calorie replacement while they're at the scene of an emergency,
Right.
um, to prevent from any type of medical injury from taking place while they're there.
Yeah.
Because every fireman, police officer, most of those guys wear their pride on their shoulder. If they get hurt or they just don't feel right, they don't want their buddy to see them.
Right.
And I'm the same way. I'm literally the same way when I'm at work. So our goal is to when or while they're containing the emergency, um, they have to take a break to have their vitals checked and things like that. So we set up with EMS, and while EMS is taking their vital signs to make sure everything is still in line, then we can give them some refreshments, protein bars, Gatorade, water, to keep those guys in the game.
Yeah.
Um, because if they're no good or they're struggling, and I don't want to sound bad when I say this, but whatever emergency they're at, it could become worse.
Right. You're trying to make sure
So
that they stay as healthy as possible while on the scene so that the emergency stays related to the emergency you got the call
e-
for and doesn't. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly, exactly.
So, I was reading, so Sumner County is split into two halves. You have like the Westmoreland half and Southern Hendersonville. Um,
It is, yes.
and then your volunteers get calls based on where they live within the county.
It is. Initially, when we first started, we had one vehicle that was based out of Hendersonville. And when we responded to Westmoreland, it would be an hour response time
Right.
to Westmoreland, and that wasn't feasible. So we was lucky enough to get enough funds built up. We bought a second vehicle, or let me back up. One of the volunteer fire departments gave us one of their little vehicles that they didn't no longer use.
Yeah.
Um, so then we took one truck and put in Westmoreland, therefore recruited more volunteers up there as well. And so that helped on the northern end of the county.
Yeah.
So we just more or less drew a line across the county and said, okay, this vehicle responds to everything above this line, all the way to the interstate and all the way to the county line on the east, and then the other truck respond to everything from the county line and Gouldsville and Hendersonville all the way over to this line to the east.
Absolutely. That's I just think this is so cool. The name Fire Buffs does not adequately explain what y'all do at all.
Um, okay, let me explain what a fire buff is.
Great.
Fire buff, fire, everything in the fire world is based off tradition. Uh, and fire buff actually started in the north, in like New York, New Jersey. Every time there was an incident that there was a fire, there was the administration of the fire departments or the firefighters themselves got to notice certain individuals that was in the crowd watching. Um, and they initially thought these individuals was arsonists. Once they got to questioning, they figured out, hey, we just want to see what's going on. That's the reason why we come every time. We're intrigued at what the fire department does. So that's how the name come about as fire buffs.
Okay.
And myself, I'm intrigued with what goes on. I love to be at a scene of an emergency.
Hmm.
Even if I'm not directly involved, I just want to kind of stand back and watch what all the guys are doing.
And help out if
Um,
you can.
exactly. Even when I'm not on duty here, I volunteer also, not only the fire buffs, but at White House Community Volunteer Fire Department.
Wow.
So, I'm still plugged in, even when I'm not on duty or not with our rehab group to respond to calls.
Absolutely.
Um, so, I thought maybe the fire buffs would just um, would stick and kind of make up, really what we do or what
Yeah.
we tend to do, because a lot of retirees or a lot of people that we have as volunteers used to be volunteers or used to they worked as a full-time fireman or medic or something like that, and they just plug
Right.
right in. They already know everything's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I'll say that like the reason that I was always like, what the heck is a fire buff? I think it's because when we think of buff, we think of like macho men doing muscle. And so if I was like, I, like, are these a bunch of men wearing fire costumes and like doing muscly poses or something? This is very strange, but I'm really, it's enlightening to know kind of the history behind it, but also I think now I kind of know what's going on. I appreciate that. But so how long, do you know how long the Fire Buffs Association has been around in Sumner County?
uh, August 2017, we
Wow.
held our first actual board staff meeting August the 17th to be exact.
So you are
Uh,
a new organization.
we are.
That's
Now I will tell
wonderful.
you that across the nation, there are many, many agencies and fire buffs slash rehab organizations across the country.
Hmm.
Um, and in this region, we're in Region 6, we're the newest. And according to the International Fire Buffs newsletter that I get, we are the fastest growing rehab agency in this region.
That's awesome.
Um, and for me, I was kind of I read that, I was like, I don't understand. And the guy that I talked to that wrote this article, he's based out of Jacksonville, Florida, and he said every time I turn
Yeah.
to you guys' page, he's like, you're doing something in the community. Your guys that you serve, they love you. And he's like, the number of volunteers that you just managed to obtain almost overnight is uh, is just astounding. He's like, what you got
Yeah.
done in a year and a half, some agencies take 10 years to do.
Right.
So we're really really fortunate that the community members and our public safety partners have joined in and to do what they've done for us and continue to do for us.
Right. So how many volunteers do you have currently?
On the roster, we have about 28.
Wow. Okay.
Uh,
That's great.
so yeah, and we'd love to have about 28 more.
Okay. I was going to ask that. So I was reading you meet once a month,
Yes,
um,
ma'am.
and folks have to there's some test that they need to take,
Well,
or
not necessarily test. Um, since we own or drive emergency vehicles, we don't drive emergency traffic like ambulances or fire truck does. Uh, we have to do an online emergency vehicles operation course. It's about
okay.
2 hours. It don't cost anything, and it just more or less tells you the laws of
Hmm.
operating an emergency vehicle.
Okay.
Um, and I think there's a 20 question test after that. Once you take that little test, it'll send you a certificate, and that just tells us to say you took that course. Now you can drive our vehicle.
Right.
Um, so it kind of gives the laws of the road of operating an emergency vehicle.
That makes sense. And then there's a $50 a year membership
Mm,
fee, and I'm assuming that that is what keeps you able to operate. Where does the money for like the Gatorade and the protein bars come from?
A lot of that, sometimes it's donated
Okay,
from individuals, from businesses, but also, we also have to buy that stuff.
right.
And a big way that we raise money is we go out to businesses and we seek sponsorships from those businesses. And the businesses that we have, we're very fortunate because in that sponsorship, we do their marketing for them on our website or our social media sites.
Right.
Uh, so that takes some of the workload off their marketing department.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because we in public safety, I don't think have enough support throughout the community, and I don't want to say that in a bad way. But the businesses that we do have that support us, um, we can't thank them enough. The responders of Sumner County can't thank them enough.
Right.
Without them, we wouldn't be here. Another way that we get funding is we sell reflective address signs to go on your mailbox, your
Oh,
home or
wow.
business. They're about 14 inches tall. We sell them in blue and green. They have 3-inch reflective numbers on them, and they're $20 a piece. That's just a donation to us, and we make that and get that out to you. Then you have to install that. We can't
Right.
install it. But that I have one at my house. That helps everybody, not only in an emergency, but that helps the pizza man, that helps the UPS guy, the
Yeah.
Amazon person. When they can't find your home, I've got a reflective address sign that highlights my address.
Right.
So, that's good for everybody. I can't express that enough, especially in the nighttime. If you live out in a country road,
Yep.
and you do have an emergency, those things, they save the day.
Nighttime, and I would also think like anytime in the winter because it is dark so much longer that it can be 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's almost dark.
That's right.
So that,
Uh,
yeah, or if it's
uh,
raining or you know that's a really
yeah, they have many positives to them. Even your family member, if you just bought a new home and they're coming to visit you, for dinner,
right. It
and they
helps
can't seem
them.
to find your home, that helps them find out where it's at.
So how can people, like, if they want one of those, where do they go to get that? Do they go to the website? I was looking at your website. It's very well organized. Um,
Thank you.
do they do it on
Uh,
the website? Do they Facebook you? Kind of how would someone?
uh, they can go to our website. There's an order form. I think all the way at the bottom of the page, I do believe. Uh, there's two different order forms on there. You can do a blue or a green, and
Okay.
you can pay through that website through like PayPal or Venmo or something like that. I think it's
Yeah.
PayPal's way it's set up. And you pay that fee, and then I get an email, and there's a couple other people that's on our board staff. They get a direct email that says, "Hey, um, Miss Megan ordered a blue address sign. She wants her numbers to be horizontal, and this is the numbers.
Right.
She paid, and then whoever's going to make that sign, we have one or two people that makes those. They'll send her an email or reach out by phone and say, "Hey, we got your sign made. Where can I deliver it to?"
Right. Um,
Um,
That's okay. So I put the link to the website in the comments here. What if people just want to donate? What if they want to like what kind of donations do you accept? I obviously monetary donations. Um,
sure.
if say I were to clean out my pantry and I had 24 Gatorades, could I donate those? Or how would I guess how do people go about donating stuff, or
Um,
if they just want to donate money but don't want a number or a mailbox number, if they just want to donate, how can they do that?
you can go to our Facebook page at Sumner County Fire Buffs.
Hmm.
Send a message to that Facebook page,
Okay.
and it goes to 6 of us. So all 6 of us get that.
Right.
Um, and someone will be back in contact with them, or they can contact me directly at 615-642-4913 is my cell number. And I'd be more than willing to meet them somewhere, something like that.
Perfect. Okay, so I also put the link to the Facebook page in our comments here. So I'm looking at your Facebook page right now. There is a golf tournament coming up June 1st. Is that still happening? And kind of
Well,
how have things changed with COVID?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, we did push our golf tournament back.
Okay.
And I think it's in October.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that. I have to see my calendar to verify that.
Right.
Because with everything going on with the COVID, we as a board staff didn't think that June the 1st would take place. So that's kind of the reason we pushed that back.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're still seeking sponsors for holes. We're
Okay.
still seeking teams to play. And it's at Bluegrass there in Hendersonville. So yeah, come on, bring your players, bring your team. Just come sponsor a hole. We'd be grateful to have you. And every dollar that we take in, the responders of Sumner County get 92% of every dollar handed back to them, whether it's in a bowl of water, Gatorade. We also carry like little fire wipes that come in these little packages. So when they exit an environment that like soot attaches to their skin, they take those wipes, they wipe their skin off before they climb back in the fire rig and take that back to the firehouse or back to their home. That's really one way that we can fight the cancer.
Right. That I think it's really amazing. I'm glad that honestly, when I was talking to my chamber coworkers, we call it the chamber chat, but I was talking to the chamber chat and I was like, should I reach out to the fire buffs? And Zena, who is friends with a lot of the folks at the Gallatin Fire Department, was like, yes, you should. That's a great idea. And I'm so glad that I did, because it really is fascinating. And I don't think I've ever heard of an organization that will go and like set up, food and drinks to take care of our firefighters, but that obviously is so important. If a fire is going on, we need them to be healthy, remain safe, because if they don't, then the fire might not be contained, and that could make it so much worse. And so I'm really appreciative of the fact that Rehab 83 and the Sumner County Fire Buffs Association existed. I'm very glad to learn about it.
Yeah. And I tell you, I'm very thankful that you reached out to me the other day, because a lot of times what happens is when we go talk to somebody, and they say who you're with, and we tell them, they kind of give you that deer in the headlight look, like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
So then it turns into an educational thing. So then you have to educate who you're talking to about what we do and why we even exist.
Right.
And a lot of people tells me the same thing. Why didn't I never heard about you?
Yeah.
So, but it's, it's really, really one of the greatest things. And I tell you, I don't respond to as many causes today as I did before, because we have volunteers and I'm pulled in every direction. But when I go to calls, the feeling that you get is when one of the people walks up and they say, hey, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for doing the things that you do. Even our volunteers that goes out, I'm so thankful for those people, that live here in our community and take time and go support the others that are going to these emergencies and dealing with them on a daily basis. That's what's feeling to me. That's, in the end, that's what's worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I think this has been very informative, and we haven't gotten any questions in the comments, so I'm assuming that we've kind of covered everything that folks would need to know, but I am hopeful. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking like right now, are we going to see an uptick of bonfires and grills and, especially with people kind of being stuck at home, are they going to be grilling out and are we going to have like propane tanks that are exploding and who knows what's going to happen? So I hope that there's not an uptick in calls in the summer. I know that when fireworks happen, there always are, but I appreciate what y'all do so much and um, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, especially after getting a call 2 minutes before we were starting.
Yeah. I was telling my partner when I come in, I was like, hey, I got this interview to do today with the chamber. So I was like, I'm going to kind of hang out in the bay so I can do this interview, so I won't bother you. And he's like, oh, man, that's fine. That's cool, And so we're getting everything done. And, so I was like, well, just maybe, because it's the way it usually happens is whenever you're trying to do something, you got a time frame to get something done. You'll run all day. And last shift, we both had things to do last shift, like our educational hours. We have to do so many educational hours every month. And we was both trying to get those done. And we run all shift. Like neither one of us got sleep all night. So
Right.
we got off the next morning and it's like, man, I just got to go home and go to bed, take a little nap. But hopefully it'll be quieter today. Hopefully.
Right.
But
I hope so. Well, this has been wonderful. Is there anything else that you think people should know that we haven't talked
about? Sure. I just want to throw this out there, not to say anything bad, but we are not funded by any county, city, anything. We are funded strictly off donations from individuals and or businesses throughout our community.
So donations are very important.
They are, because a lot of people think just because we show up in this pretty red or white truck, it's got red flashing lights on it, that
the county a
donation. Do what?
It was also a donation.
It is. So we're not funded by any particular governing body. But I would say that we've been very fortunate by the people that give to us, because the 2 trucks that we have in Sumner County are really nice, and we've worked really hard to buy those, and we take very much pride to drive those around. So
absolutely,
because a lot of times we'll show up and somebody will say, hey, how much money do you get from the county to buy that? We don't get anything.
None.
So and like I said, I don't want to sound bad when I say that, but our board staff has worked really hard to get the trucks that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is very important for people to know that you are entirely donation run. So, folks, if you have any extra stimulus check money lying around, the fire buffs would certainly make good use of it. And they, like you were saying, they take care of our first responders, our firefighters, who are, often they're there before the ambulances are at scenes of, like, at car accidents. And I think it's so important to take care of them. So,
sure.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. Again, this is Mark Harrington. He is the president of the Sumner County Fire Buffs Association. And if you look in the comments, we have a link to their website where you can order the reflective numbers for your mailbox. And those are $20 donation, and they're very helpful for first responders to be able to find your home. And then we also have a link to their Facebook. And if you have Gatorade or extra money that you want to donate, reach out to them on Facebook, send them a message there, and one of them will get back to you. But I so appreciate you being with me here today, Mark. And I hope that I never have to see you around my house. But I do look forward to hearing, all the wonderful things that the Fire Buffs do. And please keep us updated on that October, we think, golf tournament.
Yes, ma'am. I sure will. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Have a good day.